Hi everyone. Welcome to episode 16 of the Cozy Cardigans podcast. My name's Melanie, also known as Cozy Cardigans on Instagram and on Ravelry. I am the owner and dyer for Big Little Yarn Co., a hand-dyed yarn shop, and you can find all that information in the description box down below. So how are you guys? How long has it been since the last talk? 2 weeks-ish. I've been really busy finishing up a wholesale order, and then also I had the Halloween limited edition Halloween pre-orders as well, so I'm gonna get started on that today. It's been just super busy. I'm still knitting, and I do have one finished object to show you, and then a lot of work in progress stuff, and some acquisitions as well, which is a bit rare for me. I'm not that much of a buyer per se. Like, I do really love buying knitting related stuff, but I don't usually buy too much yarn, mostly because I have so much yarn, because I do own my own yarn shop, so I just kind of take from my shelves whenever I need it. So but yeah, not any yarn acquisitions, but a lot of knitterly related acquisitions to show. So let me first talk about what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing my Udo sweater, or Udo pullover, by Orlane of Tet Besh. I knit this a while back. This isn't a new FO or anything. I knit this while I was stuck in my house in Japan, using my leftovers from my twig sweater while I was there, because I didn't really have too much yarn to work with, and also all the shops were closed then, because that was when the pandemic first kind of started getting really big there in Japan. So none of the yarn shops were open. All I had was whatever I had on hand, and I luckily had enough to make a sweater. So yeah, this is one of my favorite colorwork sweaters. Let me show you the yoke. So it has this beautiful colorwork yoke. I love the patterning on this pullover, and it's a boxy style pullover. I obviously made it more cropped for my high-waisted pants. I'm wearing a shirt underneath. And yeah, it looks like it's cold. It's not. It's currently, let me check the temperature for you guys. I'm just in denial right now. Right now it is 90 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So it's not cold, it's not autumnal, but I wanted to, this is like pretty much, talking to you is pretty much the only time I get to wear knitwear here in Las Vegas. So I mean, the AC is on, so I'm okay. Definitely going to be taking this off later though, but yeah, it may look cold and autumnal. It's definitely not. I'm just in denial. But yeah, so I love this sweater. I love this so much. I love Orlane's designs. She recently came out with another pullover pattern with woolfolk, and oh my gosh, she's so great. So yeah, this is the Udo pullover. So let me start with my finished object really quick. So finished a shawl. You may have seen this on my Instagram already, but I haven't been able to talk about it here. So this is the Emery Shawl by Patricia Shapiro. She goes by Shapiro Knits on Instagram. This is her new Emery Shawl pattern. It is a 3-colored shawl, asymmetrical shawl with eyelet rows and baubles at the color changes. So it's super cute, super simple, super easy. Sorry, it's a little wrinkly because it was just laying on my couch. But just garter stitch, really easy. You start at this end here, and then you just increase on one side, decrease on the other until you hit here, and then you just have a lot of stitches and then you bind off. That's pretty much it. So I used my own yarn. I used my Peruvian wool sock base in Rust, Lichen, and Lagoon. And I love how these three combine together. They look so good. Yeah, it's not shawl weather, but I'm really excited to wear this. It's just a nice simple shawl to have, and I love the little baubles here when you throw it on. It's a cute little shawl. It's definitely gonna be super handy when I'm back in Japan. I'm hoping to go back early next year if everything goes well, and that means I get to wear sweaters. So I'm really excited for that. Yeah, this was a test knit, so I don't have any modifications on it or anything. The only thing is that the pattern calls for, I believe, sport weight yarn, but sport weight or DK. But it calls for not a heavyweight yarn, but like not a fingering weight yarn, and I used fingering weight. But she does include instructions on how to make like a bigger size. So I believe I followed like the third largest size instructions to get approximately the same size shawl that she lists as the sample size. So yeah, that's the only thing. It's a little wrinkly, but really cute, really easy. I love how neutral it is, but the green kind of makes it pop a little more. So, yep. Emery Shawl, this is the only FO I have because I've been really busy. But yeah, it's my FO. Okay, so a few work in progresses. So let me start with this sock. So last time I talked to you, I talked about switching to 9-inch circulars for these socks that I've been doing, and then I kind of messed up counting the stitches, and I had to start all over, and I had nothing to show you guys last time. But now I have this little bit. So this is the Little Black Socks by Summerly Knits. The sock pattern actually came out today, so that is now available. This was supposed to be a test knit, but she didn't put a deadline on it, and life kind of got me in the butt, and so I only have this much to show for it. But this sock pattern is super cute, super like unisex. Like, this is for my husband. Has this nice little braid on the sides, both sides, and then it also has like a pearl, like a textured stockinette stitch thing going on. It's got some pearls, and so it gives this nice texture to it. So yeah, I'm using, and then this is just like a little stitch marker that I made while I was in Japan. But so I am using 9-inch circulars. They're going really well. I'm used to them now. I have been knitting Continental for like the past 2-ish weeks, and so now it's a bit more natural for me. I am noticing that I'm knitting a little faster. Thank you all for all your tips and tricks for Continental knitting. They're super helpful. And I think I'm like a bit more comfortable, or definitely more comfortable with purling now in Continental. So yeah, that has helped tremendously. Thank you. And so the yarn I'm using is my own ugly yarn ball, but this is Patina on Superwash Merino nylon sock. It's just this really nice variegated neutral color, and it has pops of like rust and some like dark blue gray and dark browns. So yeah, this is for my husband. Still on the leg. It's kind of been my, like when we go on errands and stuff like that, it's just my little car knitting, so that's why I'm still a little quite behind, I should say. So yeah, no modifications or anything because this was supposed to be a test knit, but yeah, I love the pattern. I'm totally gonna make some for myself with some like leftover yarn. I don't need quite as much yarn as he does because I like my cuffs to be a little shorter, and also my foot is really small, so definitely gonna make another pair of these after though. So that's one work in progress. Another one, okay, so this is a secret test knit for a secret designer, but I wanted to show you the yarn, and so I flipped this. It's a top-down sweater with the colorwork yoke, so I just flipped it inside out so you can't see what the colorwork looks like. So this is inside out. These are my floats, but I wanted to show you how pretty Sangria looks. It is so autumnal, and guys, the colorwork pattern plus the Sangria is just so perfect for autumn, and I can't wait to show you. It is so hard to do. This was my first secret test knit, and at first I was thinking, how hard can it be to not show people what I'm making? Obviously, I mean, I've done that before, like before I had my YouTube channel, before I started my Instagram, like I never showed anybody what I was knitting. But it's so hard. It's so hard not to show you. So yeah, so this is Sangria on Superwash Merino nylon sock. And maybe I could like flip it this way a little. So you could kind of see how the color work, or how the colorway knits up. Super autumnal. And I'm using just a bare Superwash Merino nylon sock for the colorwork part, because that's what the sample had. The designer used more solid, not variegated like mine is, but a more solid kind of main color, and then a white contrast color for the yoke, which I really liked. So I'm doing that. But yeah, it's so hard not to show you. I really like the colorwork pattern, and I think once I'm able to show exactly what I'm talking about, you guys will wholeheartedly agree. So yeah, that is that. So not a lot to talk about for that one. And obviously no modifications really. I'm probably just gonna make the sleeves and the body shorter as usual, but since it's a test knit, there's no other modifications. And then I do have another test knit. This one is not a secret. This one is by, her Instagram handle is Covive. Yeah, her name is Dia. She is a Japanese knitwear designer, and you probably have heard of her. She makes amazing designs. And so I am test knitting her Brogna pullover, and I don't really have too much to show for it, but so far I have this little bit. So this sweater is really interesting actually. I don't know if I've knit a sweater like this before. So this one is a top-down sweater. It's got some stripes. I'll probably put like a picture here to show you what I'm talking about. It's got some colorwork stripes, and it's knit top-down, but it's not like a top-down yoke sweater. So you knit the back first flat, or knit the back top flat, hold the stitches, knit the top front flat, hold the stitches, put those two together like at the armholes, and then you knit in the round for the rest of the body. So I think usually when I knit top down sweaters, they're usually just like a regular yoke construction. So you cast on the collar here, and then you increase, and you do color work or no color work or whatever, a split for like split for the sleeves, and then, you know, the usual stuff. And then usually when there's a separate front and back kind of construction, most patterns usually go bottom up. So this is the first time I'm knitting the two sides separately and then putting them together for the rest of the body. Kind of confusing. I hope that made sense. But so yeah, that's the first time I'm doing it like that. So far, I mean, it's just stockinette. I just need to do 6 more inches of stockinette, and right now I only have like ½ an inch. And this is my yarn again, because I love using my own yarns. This is the Himawari colorway. I'm using the Himawari colorway as the main color, and then if my picture of the striping is up there, maybe I could put like a close-up of what the stripes look like. It's kind of like a textured stripe, and so I'm planning on using, so again, Himawari as the main. Oh man, it's like tangling everywhere. And then so for the outside lines of the stripe, so there's like an outside border for the stripe, and then there's like the inside of the stripe. So for the outside of the stripes, I'm using bramble, and then for the insides I'm using lichen. I think that would look like a nice, fun yellow-green stripy pullover. It looks a little summery, but I think, hey, I like yellow, so whatever. But yeah, so that's a thing. That's going well. I'm knitting in continental style flat for the first time, so I was a little worried about how my purl rows looked, because I'm a little bit, not wonky, but it doesn't really come to me naturally, continental purling. So I was a little worried, but I think because like the rows are a bit long, I've been getting more used to knitting, or getting a lot more used to purling continental style. Like by the time I get to the end of the purling row, because it is all stockinette, I'm like pretty confident about it. And when I look at it, it doesn't look too different from my knit row. I was kind of worried that my gauge between my knit rows and my purl rows would be kind of weird. Like if I knit my knit rows too tightly, it might kind of make the stockinette look a little wonky, but so far it looks okay. So I think I'm doing it fine. So hopefully it'll stay fine for the remainder of the sweater. But once I get to knitting in the round, I think it'll be smooth sailing from there. But definitely is a lot faster knitting stockinette continental, I guess, mostly because the knit rows go so quickly. I think in the end, even though I am a little not used to the purl rows, it kind of evens out in a way. So yeah, that's my last work in progress. Just a lot of test knits. I do have all my other, like my Yume sweater, or I call it my Yume sweater, but it's the what's it called? Oh my, blanking here. I'm using my Yume yarn to make a fuzzy, what's it called? Oh, soiree sweater. I don't know why that didn't pop up. So I'm making a soiree sweater with my Yume. That's another work in progress, but I haven't touched that yet because I do have these test knits. another one that I'm planning to cast on soon with, hopefully maybe some of you will also be doing it, for Stephen West's new mystery knit along. I'm planning on casting on that when the first clue comes out. I'm using my 5 Halloween colors, which will be really exciting, and I'm so excited because his title for his mystery knit along is Slipstravaganza, and so I'm guessing due to the name that there's going to be slip stitches, and I love slipping stitches. I don't know, I just love, no matter how you slip the stitch, I just really like the textures that come out of it, or like the color play that comes. It's just, I think will be a lot of fun. So if you haven't heard of it, Stephen West every year does a mystery knit along for a shawl, and you could see the past mystery knit along shawls from the past years in his Ravelry, but they're always gorgeous. They're always they look so fun to make. So I know no matter what he makes, as long as the colors I use is my kind of thing, I know for sure that I will like the end result. So yeah, so the mystery this year calls for 1 main color, 2 skeins of 1 main color, and then 3 contrast colors, 3 different contrast colors, so 4 colors total. So I am using my 5 Halloween colors. Maybe I could post my Halloween colors here. So since there are 5 colors, but you only need 4, I decided that my Coraline and my ET, since they're like the 2 closest to each other, they're both kind of a blue, although they are technically different kinds of blue. I'm going to be alternating those as I go for the main color. So depending on how the construction is, I'll probably know once I get the first clue, but I'll be alternating every other row as the main color. And then I'll be using the other 3, so Hereditary, Shining, and Beetlejuice will be the 3 contrast colors. So super excited to start. I think the first clue comes out, I believe, like on the 10th, maybe? Let me check. So if you go on Ravelry, you'll be able to see. Okay, so the first clue comes out October 9th. And then it comes out every Friday for a total of 4 clues. So every Friday after that. There's still time to sign up. You just go to his Ravelry and purchase the pattern, and then they will email or like Ravelry message you the clues until you finish. So that'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. And I also have one more test knit that I have not started yet, and I need to start ASAP because it's due on the 25th. I've knitted sweaters in a week before, so I'm not super worried about it because, I mean, all I do is knit. For those who know me in real life, and probably even all of you, literally I'm either 1, dyeing yarn, 2, eating, 3, reading, or 4, knitting. And for the eating and reading part, I could knit while I do it. So I knit like 75% of the day. I'm knitting or I'm dyeing yarn. I'm touching yarn in some way. So I tend to finish my knits kind of quickly, says me, while I still have like socks that have been on my needles for forever. But honestly, I feel like I tend to finish my knits quicker than the average person just because I am always surrounded by it. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm just missing a color, so I'm planning to snarl it. It's a color work, so I'll show the picture. She's announced it. It's the Salix Alba sweater by Elk Market. She's Elk Market. Oh, what's her real name? I'm sure you've seen her stuff. She has, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. She's Elk Market on Instagram. She's Loda. Um, that's her real name. So it's the Salix Alba sweater, and it's beautiful. It is a top-down colorwork, has a colorwork yoke. It starts off with the contrast color, kind of like Udo, like where you start off with the contrast color and then it kind of switches into the main color. So I'm planning on smarling it. If you haven't heard of smarling, it's like a colorwork. It's, I think, well, I found out about it because of Shelly Can, of Shelly Can Knits. It's pretty much you marl, but with color work. So instead of like one solid color, you use two different thinner yarns for one color, and then like two different thinner yarns for the other color. So it's kind of like marling, but with color work. And I really wanted to do that with this because I think that'll look beautiful. It would look beautiful with just solid colors, but I like to make things difficult for myself, and so I really just got the idea in my head that I wanted to smarl it, and I looked through what I had on the shelves, and thank you guys, but everything was sold out. I didn't have any for myself, so I'm just gonna have to dye up more yarn, which is not a problem. I have to do it anyway, so hopefully I get to cast on in a couple days. I'm probably gonna dye up the pre-order tonals today, or like half of it. There's a ton, but I'm probably going to take some and use that for my Salix Alba test knit, and I gotta get started on that ASAP because that's due on the 25th. The secret test knit's due on the 30th, and then the Brogna's due November 6th or something like that. And so yeah, and I also have a Brooklyn Tweed preview knit that I can't show you at all, and I haven't even started on that either, and that doesn't really technically have a deadline, but I do want to get it finished before the pattern comes out. So I have a lot of deadlines. I don't mind, so that's why I haven't been knitting on, you know, my Yume Soiree sweater or my Willa cardigan. There's so many. I have too much stuff to do, but I want to do all of them. I seriously want to do all of them. So yeah, so that's my knitting so far. So let me move on to my acquisitions. So as I said, I don't really usually buy too much stuff, but lately there's, I don't know. I think, well, okay, I used to not buy too much stuff because I just couldn't afford it in general. So like when I first started knitting, I was in college. I was working like maybe like 50 hours a week at a Uniqlo, going to college full time. I used all that money towards my tuition, education, whatever. So I really just, I would go to thrift stores and I would like unwind sweaters to get the yarn because I couldn't afford to buy yarn. So I think I've always just kind of been a bit frugal in that sense. Like I never really got out of it until kind of recently when I'm like, I mean, I'm not going out anywhere. I've been eating at home like pretty much like 90% of the time. I don't spend as much, and then like my house that I bought in Japan, I am paying for that house, but it's definitely not like paying rent in LA. Me and my husband used to live in K-Town and in West Adams, two different places, but I lived in K-Town and West Adams in LA, and the rent there is ridiculous. So that always just kind of took up my money. So I never really had knitting stuff as a priority on my to buy list, I guess. I always just kind of wanted to buy yarn because you can't knit without yarn, and I didn't really feel like, you know, that I had to get a tote bag or a stitch marker, because those are things that is nice to have and I love to have, but is not necessarily a necessity in order to knit. So Now that I dye my own yarn, I have all the yarn I can ask for, and I'm saving lots of money by staying at home with my in-laws who are wonderful and generous and don't charge us rent. So it's just like now that I'm looking around, I'm like, oh, I could buy that now if I want to. So anyways, so I have bought a couple of things that I've been eyeing since forever. Like these are things that, or at least, yeah, couple of these things are things that I've been eyeing since maybe I started knitting, and I never let myself get till now. So I'm really hyped up about it. So let me just, okay, well first, let me just start. I got sock blockers. These are my first sock blockers I've ever owned. These are from Etsy. This is an Etsy shop called Wild Stitches. And these are my first sock blockers because I bought them because now that I have my own yarn shop and now that I make samples for my yarn, I need them to look pretty for Instagram. So I got these. So that's literally the only reason why I got these. Because sock blockers I don't think are really necessary unless you want them to look nice when they're not on your feet. Which is like, I don't really know. If you need that, then obviously you should get sock blockers. But when I was starting off knitting, I mean, like I just wanted them on my feet and that was that. So I never got them. And also because I knit socks for my husband, like some family, and not all of us have the same size feet, I never really wanted to buy multiple sock blockers that wouldn't fit for other people. So anyways, these are really cool. I found these are really cool because they can change sizes, which is really awesome. This is exactly what I wanted because my feet are a size 5.5 in women's, which is like maybe about a size 3, a US size 5.5. I'm not sure what it is in UK or European sizes, but 5.5 US in women's, which is about a size 3, 3.5 in men's. And my husband's feet are a size 9 in men's, so totally different sizes. And so I couldn't just buy one sock blocker. I would have to buy like a large size and a small size. But anyways, found these. These are great because they have these little things where you can, let me see if I can do, so you flip up these little tabbies so they keep the sock blockers closed. And so you take this tab out and then you can change, it's really hard to do, so you could change the sizes of the sock blocker as you need. Oh, there it goes. So you don't have to keep buying new sock blockers. And also there's multiple sizes, so you could see that these numbers have like lots of in-between sizes. So even if you're not like a perfectly small size sock blocker foot, you could just change it to whatever length you need. And then they have this little handy little gauge thing to show like which number corresponds to what size. So yeah, I think that's super handy. I really didn't want to have multiple sock blockers just sitting on the shelves, and so this is perfect. I'll put a link down below for all my acquisition stuff in case you wanted to check it out, take a look. But yeah, that's one thing that I've never had that I finally have. So I used them on some random socks that I had, and they work great. They work like sock blockers, so highly recommend it. It's again, it's Wild Stitchers, and then I'll put a link down below though. That's one thing I got. Another thing is, Shelly Can Stuff. So about, oh, it's been a while since she did this pre-order stuff, but a while back she had like another big release of like mugs and stickers, and I have way too many mugs, and all her mugs are really pretty, but yeah, I have way too many mugs, so I didn't need that. But I did see, if you are a fan of true crime and podcasts, you probably know My Favorite Murder, which is a podcast that I've listened to for many, many years now. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe like 5 years now. And so I'm a big fan of true crime, obviously, because I'm a big fan of horror. And so My Favorite Murder is a podcast of a true crime podcast where they talk about different true crimes, mysteries, and they're really fun, and I'm a big fan. And Shelly Can put out stickers and pins based off of My Favorite Murder, and so this is one of them. It says, "You're Nicole, call your dad," which is like a line from the podcast. It's just like a, I guess like a catchphrase in a way. So yeah, and it has a ball of yarn in the back. So I'm like, favorite type of podcast, favorite podcast with a ball of yarn in the back, you got me. So yeah, I got that. Just a little thingy. And then while I was there, I saw that one of her bags was on sale. So this is holding my secret test knit right now, and matches really nicely with the yarn actually. Let me see. Yeah. Matches really nicely with the yarn. Holds up really nicely. It's a nice big size. So yeah, just a little gift to myself. So little project bag acquisition there. And then oh, while I'm here, I'll show you. This is one of the, well, this is the sticker that I'm going to be including in my pre-order shipping. So if you have ordered a limited edition Halloween colorway, you'll get one of these guys in with your mail. So look forward to that. So that's just a little acquisition. Okay, so for now the big acquisition, big for me, I guess. So when I started knitting, again, I was very frugal, and I just didn't have a big amount of money to spend on notions and things like that. And so although in the long run interchangeable needles are definitely saves you money because you can change the needles, I just couldn't afford the $75 to $100 that it costs for that set. So I've always just been buying the needles that I needed, and so I don't know, and then since I was doing that from the beginning, I've always just been doing that. I've always just bought, if I needed another size needle, I would just buy the needle I needed for it. But I was thinking the other day, and I realized that I have so many needles, but I have so many needles and not enough space for them, I guess, in a way. I just kept buying them, and now I'm like, I think I'm at a point where it's worth it for me to just buy the interchangeable set. So first I bought the Chiaogu, interchangeable needle set. I got the small set. So there's a small set, a large set, and then a complete set. And then the small set has US size 2 to 5, I believe. Oh no, size 2 to 8, and then or size 2 to 7, the smaller sizes. And then the large has the opposite, so size, I believe, like 8 to 13 or 15. And I never use those sizes, and so I didn't need those sizes, so I got the size small. I could have gotten the complete set, but again, I never use those sizes, and you can always just buy more sizes as you need anyways. So yeah, I got this small set. So it came in this pouch. It is empty right now because I also got this interchangeable needle pouch. This one is from Twig and Horn. I've been eyeing this for a while, but I never had an interchangeable needle set to put in it until now. So I got this. It came with the case already, but it is not really my style. It works. It's a very nice case. Let me open it up and show you. It has like all the needle sizes written on it. It's got a lot of little needle compartments, and it also has like a zipper in the back. But yeah, not really my style. So I knew I wanted a needle case that was more in line with what I prefer. So I got this one to put in my interchangeable set. Again, this is Twig and Horn. It has like a button clasp, leather button clasp, and then it's like a tri-fold, so just open it up, and then looks like this on the inside. So again, I got the small set, so it's only half of it here, and then I am planning to put in, you know, more needles as I need. And then it also has a little zipper here, so I keep my cables in here, and then the little, like the, what do you call these? The T-pin keys and stitch holders and stuff just goes in here. So yeah, this is definitely more my style. I love this. It is nice and compact. It's like almost like my hand size. So it'll be really handy for when I travel, because when we're not in a pandemic, I tend to travel quite a bit. So yeah, that'll be super handy. So I'm really excited about it. I have been wanting an interchangeable needle set since forever. And I can't believe I have one. I feel like a grown-up, quite honestly, because I started knitting when I was 17. Now I'm 25. I'm turning 26 next month, but I don't know. It just makes me feel like a grown-up. I'm like, wow, I'm a big kid now. But yeah, so super cute and handy. So this was a big purchase for me, and it was not cheap, and I just want to say that it's not necessary to be able to knit. It's not something that you really need, but I mean, because knitting is such a huge part of my life, I felt like that in the end, this is something that I will touch every day, that I will use every day, and so that to me makes it worth it. So yeah, I'll put the links for all this stuff down below again. And then the last acquisition I got are these little guys. So these are stitch markers. So there's a tooth one here. Oh, stop. So yep, there's that tooth one and this leaf one here. But these are both from Maria, from the, so she has two different, so she's Woolen Forest on Instagram, and then her Etsy shop is called Forrest Charm. So Maria, I've been a big, long time podcast follower for her for quite a while, and I love her style. I love pretty much everything she knits. I'm like super inspired by. I love her taste in color, and I love her taste in what she uses for her stitch markers. So her Etsy shop consists of stitch markers, progress keepers, things like that. And when she announced that she was doing a Halloween one, I obviously jumped on it real quick. And as a horror movie lover, teeth are obviously a big theme in a lot of those kinds of movies. So I obviously had to get the tooth one, because why not? And then she generously put in this little extra guy for me, and which was so sweet. And so I highly recommend watching her podcast. It's One Forrest, I believe, is her podcast name. Pretty sure. Yeah, Will and Forrest Knits on YouTube. Put a link down below for you just to see. And yeah, her podcasts are soothing and interesting, and her stuff is amazing. And I just clipped it onto the zipper that's on this case, and it's so cute and it's so perfect. I originally had it on the Secret Test Knit, but I wanted to show you guys, and this is how I'm gonna keep my progress keepers from now on. So I'm really excited about this whole thing. It's just so cute, so me, and I love it. So yeah, that's the end of my acquisitions. Super happy with everything. So satisfying. So yeah. Also, first that was the end of like all the knitting stuff. So I'm gonna be talking about more reading stuff now. Surprise, surprise, because if you have recently joined us, you might not know that I'm also a huge reader. So I usually read, this isn't to boast or anything, this is just to show how much I love to read, but I usually read about 5 to 10 books a month is my usual kind of thing. So last year I read, I think, like 60 something books, and then the year before that I read like 100 something. So not to boast, but it's just saying I love books. So I've been on this big reading slump though, since June, I believe. Ever since the whole pandemic thing started, and like I was stuck in Japan, and then we had to leave Japan, and it's just like all of these life changes kind of got to me, I think, and I just did not feel like picking up a book at all. And I knew that like I would pick up a book someday. Like I knew it's not like I hated reading forever. It was just that I needed a break. And so I'm happy to say that I think my break is over and I'm back to reading. So I read a couple books, and now I can talk to you about it because I haven't had a reading segment in a long time. So, okay, well, I guess this is kind of an acquisition. I just got this in the mail this morning, but it's autumn, and autumn to me means horror movies, and horror movies also like kind of corresponds with horror books. And so I got this. I'm not really sure how horror-y or thriller-y this is, but I have heard really good things about it. I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid, and it's been on my to-read list for a while, but now that there's a Netflix movie that I really want to watch, I have to read it first before I watch the movie, because I'm just like that. So just got this in the mail. I'm definitely going to read it and try it out. Haven't read this yet though. But what I have read, I've read 2 books since I've last talked to you. I think when I last talked to you, I was in the middle of finishing The Keeper of Lost Things. Let me get up. The Keeper of Lost Things. I finished it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's really sweet and gentle and heartwarming, and it's just a feel-good book. And I think this is what kind of broke my reading break. It gave me really good feelings and made me feel stuff. So I think it just reminded me about how books can make you feel and how satisfying it is to like just finish a good book. So I highly recommend this one. It's a little sad, but in a happy way. I was saying that it's like the last episode I was talking about how even though it's sad, it's happy, and like when you call a funeral a celebration of life rather than a funeral, it's to make it a little happier. It's kind of like that. So if you're looking for a feel-good kind of novel, I do recommend The Keeper of Lost Things by Ruth Hogan. So I finished that. And after I finished that, I was like, okay, I feel like I am ready to go back into reading again. So I was thinking the best kind of books to me during the autumn season is a nice gothic Victorian type of novel. So I picked up Woman in Black, or The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. And you might have heard of or watched the movie with Daniel Radcliffe. The movie is not totally different, but pretty different from the original book. Yeah, it's a good gothic Victorian classic. It's set in the autumn. There's crunching leaves. There's a ghost. There's creepy townspeople, creepy children. So if you're into that, I highly recommend this. It's not as like obviously it's not jump scary, because I don't think can books have jump scares? I don't think so. So the movie is jump scary, like things jump out at you and scare you. But this one is more so atmospherically creepy in a way, but it is very autumnal. So if you're looking for something that's kind of short, it's not long at all. I think I read this in a day. So yeah, if you're looking for something autumnal and like that dreary English countryside vibe, I highly recommend this book. This is a nice quick read. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars as well. It's more like a 3.75 to me. It's not the best ghost story ever, but it is nicely creepy. And Susan Hill, the way Susan Hill writes is very like a fireside story time kind of narration. Like it feels like you're listening to a ghost story or you're reading a ghost story. So yeah, good classic ghost story novel. Recommend this too. And then what I'm currently reading right now is Eleanor by Jason Gurley. And I've had this book in my bookshelf for quite a long time, maybe like 3 or 4 years. And I never really picked it up because one, I didn't know what it really was about. The summary is very vague for a reason. And also another thing is that my mother-in-law is named Eleanor. And so, I don't know, it made me feel a little weird to be holding a book called Eleanor. Not that I love her. It's just, I love my mother-in-law. It's just, I don't know, made me feel weird that there's this book with the same name. Stupid reason, but it's a really good book. I wish I picked it up earlier, and I regret not doing so. But yeah, it's totally different from what I thought. I thought this was a literary fiction, like set in reality type of novel. It's not. It's not magical realism, not fantasy, maybe in between the two. So it is set in our world, in our reality, but there are some weird things that happen that make it not our reality. So it's really good though. Very sad again, but very exciting, very fast paced, I guess. There's no real chapters in it. It's separated by points of view, so you get different characters in the book, or each section is narrated by a different character in the book, and it's like it starts off with a tragedy, and then it goes off to the next generation of the family, and then there's another tragedy, and it's just about the family trying to cope with this multi-generational trauma of these because of these two tragedies and how they cope with it. And then the main character, whose name is Eleanor, named after her grandmother, that starts off this book, who's also named Eleanor. She's named after her grandmother. And so it's about how Eleanor tries to grapple and solve and not fix, but like how she tries to cope and how she tries to help her family cope with these tragedies. And how she tries is very fantastical, I should say. It's not set in reality. So anyways, if you do like magical realism or like slight fantasy, not super fantasy stuff, then I do recommend this. I'm still not finished. I'm still halfway done. But yep, recommend it. But yeah, that's it. I feel like I rambled on for some time about not knitting stuff, so sorry if it was a little on the boring side this time. Hopefully there was something that you thought was interesting. But I'm honestly so happy that I'm back to reading now. It's just that feeling of finishing a book, closing it, and putting it back on the shelf. It's just so satisfying to me. And so, yeah, my plans for the week is just finish the pre-orders for you who ordered from the pre-orders. Read some more. I am planning on taking a little like staycation time, so no yarn dyeing. I just want to knit and read all day and watch horror movies and eat a bunch of junk food. And so that's what I'm gonna do after I finish and ship out the pre-orders. That's what I will be doing. And I'm kind of thinking that I might do a little vlog. I don't know. Let me know if you're interested in that. In a little knitting, reading, staycation vlog. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Let me know what you've been reading. If you've finished a book or if you're reading a book that you find really interesting, please let me know because I'm back at it. I would like to know what you're reading because I would like to read it too. If you've knit anything fun, also let me know, but don't make me too jealous because I do not have time to cast on anything else right now, but maybe I could put it on my queue. So yeah, let me know. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're doing well. But yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.